Pepe's RA mod. What does it even do? It's quite the interesting specimen because it's in a weird spot where the people who would most love it have little use for it. Unlike its older sister Eunectus RA mod, Pepe mod is very geared towards the early game. It still has some fringe uses in more difficult content, but for the most part, someone who already knows what they're doing is not going to need this very much. It's just a convenience feature. Let's start with what it does. Aside from giving stats, there are 3 things to watch out for. 1. Chests get revealed when you place Pepe. 2. Whenever Pepe attacks, every guard gets an extra 50% damage aftershock under their feet based on Pepe's attack. And 3. Whenever Pepe attacks a resource, so a tree or a rock, an extra aftershock will appear on the resource node and it'll keep chaining to other resource nodes up to 10 at a time. Also, I forgot, if she's holding onto some resource, her redeployment time is cut to 1/10 of what it is usually. This is anywhere between 7 and 17 depending on the weather and whether or not you're in RACC, but just assume 7 seconds. From what I've seen, both the guard's aftershock and the resource aftershock are roughly 1 tile big. And to clarify, 1 tile here means the distance from the center of 1 tile to the center of the next tile. Imagine Eunectus RA mod, except instead of 5 tiles big, it's 1 tile big, and you get the picture. What this means is that if a tree is surrounded by other trees, then that tree is taking a lot of extra aftershocks. Now, let me just start with saying the obvious. If you want to start playing RA and you're a little stuck, if you happen to have Pepe, get her mod. It really helps. While I do think you shouldn't get hung up on trying to get every single resource when you visit a resource node, it doesn't hurt to have more wood and stone, especially if you still don't have harvesters unlocked. As you move into intermediate gameplay, it won't be as impactful, not because it's weaker in the middle game, but because you have more resources already. Farming is still important, yes, but most of your focus is going to go to fighting bosses or raids. You won't believe how many stories I've heard of people getting stuck on the Priestess. No, not Chapter 15 Priestess, Croc Priestess. Horribly planned stages aside, once you've cleared the Emerald Pass, you're usually committed to clearing the story. That, or you're trying to stall for time so you can get points for the reward shop, which, fair, it's a really big reward shop, you're gonna be here for a while. The main thing to do still is strange territories, either feral or dynamic, and if you're going to either to farm for a resource, then of course Pepe still helps greatly. After that, RA is just a case of what do you feel like doing today? So let's just skip over any later progression and go to RACC. Yep, it's an RA video. Of course I'm talking about RACC. To recap, RACC is a mode that progressively gets harder with every single day, and it constantly throws raids at you, so you really don't have time for anything else, including farming. Good luck farming. In regards to Pepe, you might think that she's kind of useless because without the seasons changing, the resources don't refresh, but Pepe still has 2 important uses. The first is even before you open up RACC. If you just like suffering and want to go a lot more than 18 days, then it's smart of you to plan your stages ahead and set up walls in advance. It is possible to occasionally use the natural resources as walls for enemies to path around, but typically it's better to cut everything down and put up your own walls instead, just because you can finagle with them whenever you want. To this regard, Pepe is one of the best options for clearing out a lot of resources really fast. The second case is if you've already started RACC, Pepe is still the best operator to use. Because she is an operator, of course, you can give her provisions, which means she can get camo from Festive Folk Feast. If this is sounding obvious to you, then guess why you need it. Here's a hint. Enemies scale HP, attack, and defense with each day. Enemies scale attack with each day. Enemies one-shot everything, including harvesters. In reality, it takes a really long time for every enemy to one-shot everything, but harvesters aren't known to be tanky. Because of that, Pepe ends up being the most reliable way to clear resources if you're already committed to an RACC run. You really don't need to clear resources in RACC, it's really only if you want to be negligent and clear them later, which is fine. But with all the use cases on the table now, I think you can start to understand why I say the people who like it most have the least use for it. If you're already really committed to RA, then you don't really need to farm as many resources anymore, at least not manually. But if you're just dipping your toes into RA, either because you just unlocked it, or because you just want the rewards, or if there's a new RA that's coming out, I doubt it, but it could happen, then you benefit much more from Pepe's mod than anyone else. Even if you're just trying to glow stick method your way through the shop, Pepe cuts trees incredibly fast. More trees means more wood, and more wood means more glow sticks, so yeah. And the last thing, the AoE under all guards, while that is useful, its main use is just giving Pepe a bit of damage under herself. If you want to commit to running a lot of guards to get it to work, then sure, nothing's stopping you. And if you're an RACC, don't even try. Trust. Pepe has crazy high attack, but that's still not enough to salvage physical damage in this mode. So yeah, that's Pepe mod. Bye.